Chicago crime surges an alarming 38% during Mayor Brandon Johnson's first 30 days in office. Are you shocked? I am not shocked. We knew this was coming. Didn't think it would be that much of an increase, but here we are. Let's talk about it. Here we go. Residents and officials are worried by crime spike and Johnson's failure to present any actionable policy to address it. Now, the issue is you voted in a chucklehead who public safety isn't a thing. So, residents of Chicago, what were you thinking? From my standpoint, my perspective, you're going to get much of the same, which is your past mayor was horrible. This next one, horrible as well. If you're concerned about, anything like, maybe keeping your children safe, your parents safe, anybody safe. Yeah. 38% increase in crime. First 30 days. Is that a coincidence? Are they cooking the books on that number? And it just seems too significant, right? Here we go. 1 month into his tenure as the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson is facing a significant challenge as crime rates in the city have spiked by 38% compared to the same period last year, according to recent data. While the crime problem in Chicago predates Mayor Johnson's term, these alarming statistics raise concerns about his approach to public safety and priorities during his first month in office. Boom, right? You've got some concerns? We had concerns about you being elected because you're a knucklehead. I mean, pretty straightforward, right? The data reveals a disturbing surge in various criminal activities. Vehicle thefts have skyrocketed by 153%. Aggravated battery up 17%. Burglary cases risen by 12%. Additionally, shootings have increased by 5% during this period. And that's only because they've had elevated shootings forever in Chicago, right? The site, Hey Jackass, and if you follow that at all, it just basically goes week after week, weekend after weekend of, what kind of shootings you had. This past week in Chicago, I think you had 11 people get murdered, 50-something people get shot. I mean, the statistics are nuts. Nuts. And people are worried about cops killing people. Look at your data, folks. Statistically, that's not who you need to be afraid of. Yeah, you need to be afraid of other citizens because they're the ones popping you. The only glimmer of improvement comes from the decrease in homicides, which dropped by 5%, accounting for 3 fewer lives lost. Okay. All right. I mean, there's a silver lining everywhere. All right. You got 3 less people murdered last year. Same period last year. Critics argue that Mayor Johnson's response to the crime wave has been insufficient given the magnitude of the problem. I think electing Mayor Johnson mayor was insufficient, identifying the problem, which is you got people shooting each other left and right. You got a massive surge in crime. We've known Chicago's dangerous, but electing this knucklehead, it just exacerbates the problem because this guy never came in on a, public safety agenda platform. He just didn't. And yet everybody's like, go with the progressive guy. We've seen this before. I'm sure this is going to work out pretty good. They say that public safety concerns seem to be taking a back seat as his social media presence focuses on events, podcasts, and unrelated issues. Hey, that's what I do. I focus on events, podcasts, and unrelated issues, but I'm not the mayor of a very dangerous city, am I? I'm not. Maybe I should be, right? Could I get elected in Chicago? What do you think? This guy, mayor of Chicago, not in a million years, right? Hey, well, who's this guy? Where'd Howdy Doody come from? Never get elected. And unrelated issues with minimal attention given to addressing the rising crime rates. The guy never said he was going to. He just basically didn't. He was, supported by the teachers union, not the cops. What'd you expect? Even during a weekend marked by 52 people being shot, including 10 fatalities, the mayor remained silent. Yeah, nothing to see here. Mum's the word. It's all good. I mean, you got that one murder thing that's down. I mean, you know, is your glass half full or is it half empty? You really got to focus on where you want your priorities to be. Yeah. Meanwhile, people are getting, you know, taken out left and right. Hey, a lot of this is gang violence. It just is. Nobody seems to want to focus on that. So when are we going to focus on that? And by we, I mean you, the people of Chicago. I don't think you are. I think this is just kind of how it is. And you're going to have to live with these statistics till you can figure out a way en masse to take care of some of this criminal activity. I don't think that's going on. It's kind of like, you know, the folks that are all drug addicted and all the folks that are helping, you know, continue those people's addictions, the drug dealers. You can't really arrest your way out of that problem, can you? Because it doesn't create a solution for getting people off the dope. So rinse, repeat, keep going. So this silence raises questions for many about Johnson's commitment to tackling the urgent challenges faced by the city. Okay, this is where I would say Johnson, bad. Mayor London Breed, not great. However, at least saying some stuff kind of pointed in the right direction. We'll see if it goes anywhere, right? Mayor Bruce Harrell here in the city of Seattle, he's been dropping the hammer on this kind of stuff pretty consistently. That he's had a massive push, but I think he's more of a moderate. So he gets it. The whole progressive thing, that's not that important to him. Yeah, he's a Democrat and he's got to kind of toe the line and talk about gay rights and stuff. Okay. All right. You got to go down that road. But when it comes right down to it, Mayor Bruce Harrell here in Seattle, are there issues with Seattle? Massive issues, huge issues. But he's also kind of going down a road of, all right, what can we do? What can we do? What arrests can we make? What sweeps can we do of the areas that are hit the hardest, the worst? What can we do there? But, you know, you look at Jonathan Cho's feed. I mean, we had a woman here in Seattle get whacked last week. She was 36 weeks pregnant, going to her workplace, a restaurant. I mean, just terrible. Got whacked by a guy from Chicago, a felon from Chicago that went to Seattle because, I mean, if you're into doing drugs and being whacked out drug addict, Seattle's a great place to be. We'll set you up. We're your homies here. Yeah. And that's why you have so many people from outside of the area come. Same thing with San Francisco. So many of the folks that they arrest on drug charges there, not from San Francisco. Yeah. Because they're coming there because it's drug nirvana, right? It just is. So, and the progress is already, however, Mayor Johnson, however, contends that his administration's efforts are making a difference. Okay. And that progress is already being seen. All right. I mean, if, 10, 11 people are being taken out and 52 people are being shot on Father's Day weekend. I mean, yeah, okay. Progress. All right. What was it like before? Oh, not good. He emphasized the allocation of significant funding amounting to hundreds of millions of dollars for violence prevention, intervention, and disruption initiatives. How about just a F-ton more cops? Just load the streets up. Oh, no, that's not progressive. We can't have that. A city that actually has a police presence? No, we cannot do that. That's not good. Because cops are to blame for all of this. It's somehow the cops' fault, right? In addition, he highlighted the importance of prosecuting individuals responsible for these crimes, aiming to deter future offenses and ensure justice is served. All right? He highlighted the importance because he's got to say something along those lines. All right, yeah, I had a bad weekend. Just go up there and say something about, arresting, criminal activity bad, working on it, stats good. And you're like, okay, you don't mean any of that because your social media feed is filled with a bunch of other nonsense. You're on a podcast. Are you trying to get popular? Are you trying to become the president? What's up with that? I mean, podcasts. I understand it's a way for a mayor to get out his word, but he's also got to put the work in. And it doesn't seem like the work is being put in because we're not hearing about, hey, we're going to try this, and this. And it's going to have this, and this impact, or it's not. And then we go back to the drawing board and we try this, and this. That's how I'd approach it. And all 55 of mine wouldn't cure the problem. But I think trying is important. You know what I mean? And that's what I would say about Johnson here. Not even trying, right? Acknowledging the need for a multifaceted approach. Mayor Johnson, how about one approach? Anybody dealing drugs goes to jail for a long time. Anybody on the streets not accepting housing goes to jail. I don't know. What do you think? Yeah. We just put a whole bunch of people in jail. How about we just put a lot of people in jail? Just see what happens. Yeah. Well, Sean, the war on drugs never worked. Well, this isn't working either, right? Mayor Johnson also advocates for creating job opportunities for young people. Young people don't want to work. Have you noticed that? Young people don't want to work. Yeah, that's hard. God, I don't want to do that. That's hard. Go to school for that many years? That's hard. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. It's hard. You're going to make me go do that? Oh, no, that's physical labor. I'm not doing that. I need to do something like this or something like this, and I'll make my millions. Meanwhile, they're at home, living in their parents' basement on a couch, playing a lot of Xbox, smoking the doobie. That's where I see a lot of this going. And securing additional funding for specific neighborhoods. He seeks to challenge the mischaracterization of Chicago's youth. All right. Chicago's youth they just have a rough go, right? You got a bunch of gangbangers going around. You got a bunch of single moms. You've got some tough situations. You got some brutal situations for people to try and dig their way out of. But what you've got going on with a mayor like this is just kind of letting a free-for-all go. That's not going to work either. Recognizing that while some engage in violent activities, some have you seen some of the stories coming out of Chicago? They're like epic Hollywood sagas. I mean, just shooting happened where and what and how many people? Good Lord. You got entire communities shooting each other up, right? While some engage in violent activities, the majority crave and deserve opportunities for a brighter future. Unfortunately, they are still voting in the same nonsense that they've had for multiple years, for multiple mayors. How about Mayor Lori Lightfoot, commonly, known as Beetlejuice? I don't really know why. I mean, it's a nickname. It's a nickname. It's a good one though, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, she was terrible. She was horrible. And you would hope that residents would understand, all right, some of her policy ended up in this. That didn't really take us in the right direction. So then they vote some guy that's probably even worse. Like, okay, this is going to work out. Just 2 thumbs up. This is going to be great. We're going to hire Johnson to be mayor, and he's really going to take it to, public safety to town. No, he never said he would. However, critics argue that these measures alone may not be sufficient to address the immediate crisis at hand. How about we bring in the federal, I almost said the Federal Reserve. How about we bring in the National Guard? Just, to set up kind of a war zone. I am reading stories about the criminal activity and the break-ins entering the Magic Mile and some of the downtown shopping district and downtown business district pretty heavy, like some major kind of gang activity going into apartments in this part of town. Haven't seen a lot of that. There's been an area where, the dash and grab along the Magic Mile in Chicago. Yep, that's been bad, but now it's kind of going into the residential section. And I've talked about that from the standpoint of when all the stores, get their security to the point where you can't break in and you still got to break in and steal stuff for your addiction or for your lifestyle, which is, criminal activity. You're going to have to steal from residents. When the commercial stuff is too hard to steal, you're going to have to start on the community. You have to start breaking in and entering places you haven't before. And that is some of what I believe we're seeing in Chicago right now. Since Mayor Brandon Johnson took office, youth homicides have doubled compared to the same period last year. That's not good. That's gang activity, right? In the past month alone, Chicago has witnessed the deaths of 9 teenagers under the age of 19 due to violence. While these are only 4 such incidents during the corresponding time frame last year, these statistics indicate a concerning increase in youth homicides under Mayor Johnson's tenure. Criminal gang activity is responsible for the vast majority of this. Nobody wants to come out and say that because it's not a popular concept. All right. Yeah. You're going to have to go in and arrest a whole bunch of people, and the optics are not going to be pretty. Somebody's going to have to stand up and do it. I don't think the will is there. I don't think the will is there to do anything about it from the standpoint of really making a difference. And so, like much of what I talk about, get out the popcorn, because you're going to have entertainment for a long time. And I don't mean entertainment from the standpoint of people being killed. That is horrific. These families do not deserve this. Enough of them voted in an ineffective mayor like Brandon Johnson that, it kind of is on them from the standpoint of, hey, you voted this in. This is what you wanted. This was your dream mayor because you got him into the office. There was another option that was more heavily laden, weighted on the public safety thing. You didn't want that dude in there. So this is what you got. And now you got big blip up in violence. Not shocking. Because it's like, all right, XYZ more years, just party time. What you are seeing happen in Chicago is what I talk about all the time. Everybody is upset with the number of people being murdered within their community. And yet, when it comes right down to it, the one thing that they can do is they can vote in somebody a little bit tougher on criminal activity. They don't do it. So you get what you pay for, right? You get what you pay for. And this is what you got. So why wouldn't, crime spike under this mayor? This mayor was never one to say, hey, I'm going to take a tough stance on this. I'm going to make your lives better. This mayor isn't doing that. And never was, never set out to be. He's off doing podcasts and a bunch of other stuff. Hey, maybe I'm going to be the president someday. Isn't everybody who gets into politics, don't they all want to be president? Even people who don't, or people who lie about, oh, I never wanted to be president. I would love to be president. All that power, Oval Office, possibilities are endless, right? If you're president. That to me is a terrible job. You're just getting ordered about. You got a schedule that's like, okay, 4 minutes from now, you got to be here. Mr. President, walk over there. And all those pictures of fearless Joe Biden. Buy a man, eat fish the day, teach man to a lifetime. It's our new merch cup, Joe Biden. And, you feel sorry for him because you watch him walking and he's like, all right, there's nobody to guide me to where I'm going. Where do I go? Do I go over here? And people kind of literally, it's like a child, when you have a child and they need to be going in a certain direction because you're doing something where they're going to be up on a stand or something. And you just kind of guide them along the way. And then you tip them in the shoulder and go, go that way. That's kind of how our current fearless leader of the free world, But if you voted him in, that's what you get. Chicago, same deal. Same deal. What do you say? Get out the popcorn, enjoy the ride, because it's going to be a long one. Here we go. All right. Thanks so much for being here. We'll catch up soon. Talk then. Bye for now.